to Impressive Glow. I am so excited. My name is Gina. I'm the owner and educator of Impressive Glow Spray Tan and Teeth Whitening Training. And I am here finally with some brand interviews with some of the most amazing brands in the sunless industry. And Miss Audrey from Glaze is here. And I'm so flippin' excited to have you here. Thank you for coming and talking with me.
Thank you for inviting me. I was so excited actually when you reached out. I love doing stuff like this. I don't really get asked to do it very often. So when I do, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm excited.
But it's crazy, our industry. I mean, looking from it on our end, I think our industry is this big industry, and then other people look at it and it's like, you guys are so small. Like, there's not a whole lot of information that's getting put out about
Hmm.
different brands, and the
Hmm.
information and the faces behind them. And I think it's so powerful. And I want to be able to use YouTube and whatever platform that I have to be able to share, a lot of these stories because there's some amazing stories behind these brands, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like girls that I've been able to, and you wouldn't ever know that unless you go to like conferences like Slay and the
Yeah.
Unfiltered stuff, and you get to meet women and you get to like actually talk to them. And so for the
Hmm.
women who don't are or aren't able to get to some of those, I kind of want to bring those conversations to them via YouTube with having like these interviews. So I'm super excited to be able to talk to you about Glaze.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's really important because it is such a small industry. It can feel, I talk about this all the time, but like it can feel very isolating. You can feel like you're just kind of alone as you're just going through the trenches of running your spray tan business. So it's nice to be able to just physically, like we're doing right now, see other people talk about it.
Yes, I met a lot of girls who are like, I'm in like the backwoods of Utah. Like, I need
Yeah.
people out here. So I'm super excited. I want to know, we're just going to go over a few questions. I'm sure it's going to take us into other places, but I need to know, where did you start in the industry? Were you like, how did you even get into Sunless? Like, what happened? How did that happen?
It really just happened so randomly. I feel like, oh my gosh, it's something that really fell into my lap one day. I was not looking to start a business at the time. I was working as a legal assistant. This is like 12 years ago now, 11 years ago. It will be 12 soon. I was working as a legal assistant, scrolling on Facebook on my lunch break, and I saw someone was selling a spray tan machine and like a used bottle of solution. And I had had one spray tan before that ever. And for some reason, I just like looked at that and I was like, something is pulling me right now to just reach out to this girl and to buy it because I don't know, you never know what can happen. Like, may as well. I'm very like impulsive. So if I see something and it like it interests me at all, I will usually jump right on it. So I messaged her, and it's funny because I'm talking to a spray tan trainer right now, but did a very, very fast online training that didn't have any information just so that I could get a certificate. I don't even think I read the information on this training, if I'm being honest. I like scrolled to the end, got my name on this certificate, posted it on Facebook same day. This is before I even got the machine. Said that I am spray tan certified and then got the machine. That night I did my first spray tans on an old coworker. I had no idea what anything was. I had never even used this machine before. I didn't practice with it. This is the crazy part. She ended up loving her tan. I don't know how. It was a disaster. It was like rolling down her body. I'm just like playing it cool. She loved tan, posted about her tan. And then the next day I had people messaging me for a spray tan. And then obviously at that point, I'm like, okay, I really don't know what I'm doing. So at that point, there wasn't a whole lot of training out there. This was a long time ago, but I'm like YouTubing, which is like so great that you have this platform. YouTubing spray tan tutorials, just trying to figure it out, going on the Solution Lines website to see if they have any education for me. Um, and then it kind of really just snowballed from there. So I basically fell into a business that I had no real intention of starting. Got very, very busy. Obviously, started to take it a lot more seriously as the years went on. And yeah, that's where it all began.
Did you ever have a studio space?
So for the first like 6 or 7 years, I did it all out of my house. We had a spare bedroom. It was really busy and I mean, not the ideal place for me eventually because, strangers coming into your house, you always want your house to look perfect and I don't know. So then we ended up getting a shed built in our backyard. We lived on property. I had that for a while, and then I was just like, okay, I'm outgrowing this. Now it's time to get a studio space. This is all when I lived in Washington. And then I moved to San Diego and opened a studio down there in Pacific Beach, which was a whole like a storefront. It was an actual like studio space. I wasn't in like a salon suite or anything like that. And yeah, it's been a long journey.
I did spraying in my house for a really long time too. And I think
Yeah.
that's such a conversation because I think of like new spray tan artists, it's so funny to see how everybody wants to jump to a salon suite. Everybody wants to get into
Mm-hmm.
the studio. And it's like you still
Mm-hmm.
can spray in your home. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with it. If you make your studio space feel safe and you do take
Yeah.
all the necessities to keep yourself safe, make your space feel comforting and warm. And I've done tons of videos on creating such a good space that I want
Mm-hmm.
more girls just starting off to realize it's okay. Like it's okay to have a space in your home.
I honestly loved it. When I look back at it, I feel like I complained a lot about the situation. Looking back now, I actually really did like it. It's so convenient. You don't have to leave your house. You can be folding laundry and here's your next tan.
Yep.
So the convenience is better than anything. And then obviously just creating a kind of space that you want it to be for people. I think what most people's hesitation is about doing a home studio is, well, what are people going to think? Are people going to think this or this or this? And you'll come to find that people really don't care. People don't care as long as they're getting a good service. As long as you're personable, as long as they like you, they don't care where they're going for a 15-minute spray tan. So I think a lot of it is just like people are very much in their heads. I have spray tan people in my shower and in my kitchen, and you got to make do with what you have at those times. And in the town that I was originally spray tanning in my house in, it was so small, there were no salon suites, there were no spaces that you could rent. You had to make do with what you had. So that was kind of where the situation was that I was in.
And look where you're at now. So from spray tanning in your bathtub and in your kitchen. Like things can happen. Like you don't need to have
Yeah,
everything so perfect when you first start. Like it doesn't. You don't have to have every setup that every girl on Instagram has. You can start
no.
in a small space. For those of us who have been in the industry for a while, that we didn't start with a 2,000 square foot warehouse or studio
Hmm.
space or any of that stuff. So I think that's really important for women to hear. So fast forward, how long did it take you, and what did you finally say? Okay, look, this is missing in the industry, and I need to take the bull by the horns and say that I'm going to create something myself, which is glaze,
Yeah.
which is let me tell you. I blinked. Like I ordered a bottle of glazed when you first started, and I swear I wasn't even done with the bottle. And I blinked,
Uh-huh.
and girls everywhere were posting about your solution. And I thought, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. This girl's got it. She has created something that is absolutely phenomenal, and it like wildfire. But what was it that you saw in the industry that was missing that you were like, okay, I need to create something for this industry?
So I kind of have two answers for this one. So the first one is more like the scientific, like technical side of solution. The other one's like a little bit deeper than that. So the first thing is since I started spray tanning, have always been, I might say something on here that you're not gonna like because we kind of train people against it now, but I have always been I like to play my own chemist since I started. I will I used to mix any solution from any line. I don't care. I'm trying to create something different, the best of the best for my clients. And as far back as I can remember when color theory really started to become a thing. Violet is going to counteract one undertone, olive is going to counteract another. So that got put into my head very early on. And I was like, okay, so what if I mix violet and olive together? Um, this is like years and years and years ago. When I started doing it with every single client that would come in and always saw like the most perfect outcome on them. It was never too warm, it was never too cool. It was just like brown, like a very neutral brown. And I started to recognize that there were no other solution lines out there that had these two bronzers mixed together. You had to buy each individual bottle and mix them. And I had this in my mind for a really long time before I even thought of creating glaze was I wish someone would create this. I wish that someone would do a violet olive blend so that I could just buy one bottle of solution and there you go. Every client looks great. And I know universal solutions aren't really a thing, but it kind of is when you're doing something like that. Um, So anyway, Glazed Original, our first solution, was something that I kind of had in the back of my mind for a really long time. And eventually years go by, it just never becomes a thing with any solution line that I use. And I was like, this is missing in the industry and I can do something about this. Like I can create something that is what I've been using for so long. Um, so that's like the very scientific answer, I guess you could say. I've always just been wanting to mix and match and figure different things out and think that I'm being some creative in the industry. The other answer to that, in a little bit deeper, is right before Glazed. I would say like it was really during COVID, I guess. I started a really small community of spray tan artists on Facebook that I would basically give like business advice to, and we would talk about our business, and we would do Zoom calls, and we would have like little guest speakers on to talk about I don't know, marketing strategies and things like that. And I tried to keep it really, it was called Glow Gang. And it was really, I tried to keep it really, really business focused. But everyone kept coming to with questions about solution. It was always like, well, what about this? Or what about this solution? I'm like, okay, this isn't why this is here. But obviously, this is something that you guys are struggling with right now. People are overwhelmed. There's not enough education. There's too many solutions out there with no clear purpose as why you would use them or who it's for or the kind of outcome that it's going to give. So I saw a lot of artists really, really overwhelmed. And I don't know if it's just lack of education or the fact that spray tanning is not a like regulated industry. So a lot of people are getting thrown into this and like really don't know, like think back to when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, I want to create solution that I can very strongly educate people about so that they can feel really confident, know why it's here, know what its purpose is. And that's ultimately like where Glaze came to be.
I'm not kidding. Like I blinked. Your pictures of all of your like solutions were all over, and I started getting girls who were coming to me for training and were asking me about glaze, and I hadn't even used it yet. Like I was like, well, I've heard of it, but I hadn't used it. So that's when
For,
I had ordered
I
it.
remember you messaging me.
And I
Yeah.
was like, what the heck is going on? And they were going crazy over it. So I was just, with the rapid growth that you had, what do you attest that to? Like, was that majority word of mouth? Was that your Glow Gang groupies? Or what do you think it was that blew that up?
Glow was really small in the beginning. Like it was pretty small. There was about like I think when I first launched Glazed Original, I think I sent it to like 25 or 30 people that ordered it from me, just like the community I had built around that really like trusted me and like, I don't know. I don't know. I think I have a very obsessive personality. And some people might say that's like a really bad trait. It's gotten me really far. So a very obsessive personality. I spend a lot of time working. I'm always on my phone. I'm always talking to spray tan artists. I'm always answering emails. I'm texting people all day. I'm always on social media. I'm very, very, very hands-on and engaged in my business, and I don't stop.
Mhm.
And then eventually that leads to burnout,
Yeah.
obviously,
Mhm.
but which I've experienced a lot of times. But I am super obsessive and I don't stop. And I think that that's really what I attest it to because if I see anyone talking about glazed on social media or if I see a question, I'm the first person to get on there and answer it. I want them to feel like I'm accessible for them.
But I think that like that's just like to me, because I swear I'm like an old soul. I mean, girl, I'm in my 40s, so I still believe in the old school marketing of or like the old school belief of I mean, you're successful when you put your heart and soul and effort into this business. I mean, even though I train business stuff and I train or education and all these different things, at the end of the day, there's no magic conversation. There's no
Hmm.
magic Instagram post that's going to make you be successful. It's literally just every day, like you said, hands on deck. I'm going to show up for my business every single day, no matter if I want to or not. The
Hmm.
days that I don't feel like it, I'm still going to show up for it. And I think,
Hmm.
seeing that your success of how fast you've grown, that's a testament to what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, and I say this to spray tan artists all the time, like consistency is everything. You're gonna have days where you don't show up. Like that does happen for me sometimes. I'll be like, I am spent. I can't talk to anyone else, but then the next day I'm back up and I'm grinding out again because that's just what you have to do. You have to show up for yourself. You have to know what your why is or why you're doing this, and that pushes you through.
So give me a little bit of a time frame of like creating the solutions. What were some of the biggest struggles? What were some of the hardest like lessons learned that you can think of when it comes to actually, because I think a lot of girls, I mean, I've seen solution companies and retail products and all these different companies kind of come and go in the industry in the last, only 8 years that I've been in this industry. What are your biggest struggles that you kind of had to deal with, actually creating a product?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is I am super indecisive. And spray tanning is one of those things where you know this, and I know that people that are listening this are going to learn it right now, but it's one of those things where it's never consistent because a spray tan's outcome is so much dependent on somebody's skin. So I could spray back when I was first formulating like Glazed Original, for example. I could spray it on one person and it looks amazing. And they're leaving it on for 8 hours and they're so dark, but it looks so natural. And then I can take that same thing on somebody else and it can look completely different. And it could be like, oh, this is not what I'm hoping for. So then my mind is going off of that bad experience and wanting to change it because of whatever it may be that happened. So it's definitely a hard thing to get into. It's not just like you're creating a lipstick or makeup, you're creating something that is scientifically like working with somebody's skin. And so outcomes are always going to be different. You're never going to know exactly what you're going to get. So I think that's definitely like the hardest part of formulation.
And I think too, like when you like I couldn't imagine trying to be in your shoes and explaining situations like that to new spray tan artists who don't really understand how much of that of people's skin, not only just people, client skin, but your technique and your application
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
weather and like all of these different things that coincide.
When I first talked to my one of the chemists that worked for the manufacturer that I go through, I was just like mind blown by just some of the little things that you don't think will actually impact the outcome of a spray tan. I learned a lot through that process. And even now I'm just like, this is so much deeper than what
Yeah.
even I knew 5 years ago. You know, there is so much more to this. Um, so all we can do as like solution lines, and I speak for all of us, is just to try to make ours as best as we can with the best ingredients that we can. And then fingers crossed that everything else that we can't control. I know how drying DHA is. It's one of the most drying ingredients that you could put on your skin. So how are we going to like counteract that? What ingredients can we put in here that can add just a little bit of moisture to counteract the DHA drying effect? There's just so much that goes into to all of that.
Which I will say you've done very well because I use glaze on a daily basis on clients, and it is one of the top solutions that I keep in my studio for a lot of my girls. I love how universal it is. I love the fact that yes, you can use it on anybody, but you have to really understand like your solution is so great with like timing. Like I don't have to adjust so much with skin type. I can just adjust more with like the timing of processing and who it's
Mhm.
on and which of the products that I select in your line. But if you could tell, now I'm going to ask you about your customers, but because that it led me into another thought of like, okay, I think like with solution lines, I think you guys, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you guys would, or that solution company owners would really hope and pray that trainers are giving as much education about things like that, about DHA and how things process on a client's skin. If you could speak specifically to trainers when it comes to teaching clients about a particular thing, what is something that you would want trainers to really hit the head when it comes to training clients in terms of like solution and how they should be using not just your solution itself,
Mhm.
but what you think is important for our students that should really be talked about that maybe you don't see enough education being taught on.
I feel like a lot of it goes down to DHA, what it is, and how it actually works with the skin. That's a really big one. And then the other one, and this is just things that I see in like Facebook groups that I'm always kind of like collecting, like this is where people are struggling is all these little mishaps that people have, a lot of times they'll blame it on the solution. They'll say, I used whatever solution. I used Glazed Sunless. This happened. What went wrong here? But it's generally not the solution in most cases. Generally not the solution. It's the client, their skin, how you applied it. Did you oversaturate them? Are they properly prepping their skin? You don't know. There's so much that is out of our control as spray tan artists. So all we can do and all anyone can do as an educator is educate the artist as much as possible so that they can take all of that information in the back of their mind and just go into each spray tan knowing what could possibly happen.
And I think that's why, like, I think, like, for me, putting a training program together, it was so important to teach science. Like, it was so
Mhm.
important to teach girls what what factors affect the process of DHA. Like, never once when I ever trained with any program did anybody ever mention climate to me. Like,
Yeah.
nobody ever told me that Michelle's spray tan in Florida is going to be different than Rebecca's in Ohio. You use the same exact solution, the same exact application,
Yeah.
their spray tan is going to process different. Like it's just
It's just things that you never think of. Like I will say right now, I'm in Washington State right now. It is extremely dry, like very, very dry and cold. Especially this time of the year. My tans don't thrive like they do when I'm in Hawaii for a week. It's just completely different. And that's climate related because it all just comes back to your skin. I was like, this is super random, but I was on this weather app the other day and at the bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, it says like the air is dry. Be sure to moisturize your skin. Like all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we need like a spray tan artist version of this to like give out to people. But yeah, like before and after care, the products that people are using, it's all just so important because it really does affect the outcome of the spray tan.
the hardest thing for me is like when I first started thinking about training and like kind of how my program kind of came together was there is a million Facebook group pages out there for spray tan artists and there are
Mhm.
there's tons of them and I would see girls come in very new to the industry ask questions about bronzers and ask questions about DHA percentage and ask questions about different types of solutions and this is why sometimes I do wish our industry was regulated just a little bit more
Yeah. Hmm.
because just like with estheticians, you have to have continued education to be able to
Hmm.
provide services. And I was watching girls kind of come in and just go full force on these younger, spray tan artists or these newer spray tan artists and give their ultimate opinion. And this is fact. And I've been doing this for 12 years and this is how it is. Well, yes, but you may be over here. Not to say that like older spray tan artists have not grown with technology, and you may have these type of clients, and
Hmm.
I have a completely different set of clients who have different types of skin, where I don't see any cool tone clients here, and
Hmm.
like it's so different. So I think
Yeah.
training programs and I definitely have seen it get better over the last couple of years where more training programs are getting a lot more education out behind that so I think it's really important that as educators we help you guys also be able to express that to students to
Yeah.
go in to really understand that they can't blame you.
One thing that you brought up about just some people being super stuck in their ways of how things used to be. Well, I was spray tanning 10 years ago. Things have changed a lot, but spray tanning is also a very, very new industry. So compared to others, like we haven't been spray tanning as long as people have been coloring hair. So things are going to change. Like they are going to evolve. New ingredients are going to come out. And I bet you 5 years from now, spray tanning is going to look a lot different. Like color theory was not a thing. Bronzers weren't really a big thing 10 years ago. Now they're huge. So we don't know what the next big thing's going to be. We don't know what the next chemist is going to discover when it comes to spray tanning or some new ingredient that's going to do something. I hope I'm the one to kind of figure that. It's always going to evolve, and that's something that people need to know. And that's why I think continuing education and just being open-minded is really important because if you're open-minded and you are trying new things, you're going to be able to give your clients the best of the best.
So we talk to trainers. If you could tell your customers, if you could tell spray tan artists, if you want them to know one thing specifically about glazed and maybe some information behind that. Because I'll tell you what, I see you as one of the biggest, like as a business owner, as a spray tan line, anytime I see somebody ask a question about glaze, I always see your comments. Like you are in it, you are there to answer questions. And sometimes I think on forums, on Instagram, like things can get lost in translation about, your business or like what your core meaning of it is or whatever you want
Yeah.
to actually be able to know about your business. But if you could like on here tell clients one thing you really want them to know or customers something you really want them to know about glaze, what would that ultimately be?
There's so many different things, but I think the what I'm going to say on here is that I created Glazed to be very simple. I didn't want to overwhelm spray tan artists with a bunch of information. So though our line is very simple, it's also really versatile and really customizable so that with right now, three solutions with a couple different DHA percentages of each one, you can create any outcome that your client could possibly want without having to stock 15 solutions on your shelf and custom mix everything. That's really what I wanted was to give artists simple, easy to understand line. And I hope that people feel that way because I really, really put education at such a forefront and like even product descriptions or the Facebook group that I have or just fact that I'm very accessible. I want people to know that if they don't have an answer, they'll always get an answer from me and just to feel like supported. But yeah, it can be an overwhelming industry with the lack of education. But yeah, I think just the fact that I wanted Glaze to be as simple as possible. And even if we ever do put more solutions out there or it doesn't seem like such a simple line, I want people to feel they're educated and they know why these are here and that each solution that we have does serve a really like unique and individual purpose so
Absolutely.
that you can create the best, most natural looking tan for your clients because that's what we all want at the end of the day. Or education coming from all different sources that counter like don't really make sense sometimes. Your solution is only a small part of your business, but it does keep people coming back if they love their tan. And that is just one of the aspects. So you want to have a brand that you have in your salon or your studio that you really trust in, that you're confident in, and that you don't feel overwhelmed by.
So where do you see what are the plans for glaze in the next coming year? We got new solution line coming out. We got products. What do we got? What's going on?
Would love to do a little bit more products, but even there, I don't want to overwhelm people. I think that retail is hard for a lot of spray tan artists to sell. I like to keep it at the minimum. Even in my own studio, you need a really good moisturizer, you need a good way to exfoliate, you need a way to remove your tan. That's all you really need. As for retail, I don't have huge plans of growing a retail line. For solution, I mean, in order to have a spray tan solution line, you have to be a creative. And I find that like every winter, I get in this slump where I just want to create something new. And honestly, if it were up to me, I'd probably have like 30 solutions because I just want to sit and create all that I can. It's gonna be a really slow build. It's gonna be a really slow build because I feel like just now people are getting really confident with what we have. And if we were to add one more in there or two more in there, it wouldn't be super overwhelming. So I do want to grow the solution line just a little bit, maybe by like one or two that I think would do really well. We're working on something right now that I want to have launched by summer, but I'm not even gonna say it because like you never know what can happen. As for just the future of Glaze, I mean, we are still such a small company, I guess you could say, in the fact of like numbers that we have here working on the day to day. So it's like me, my fiance, and then I just hired someone that helps pack orders. And the goal, hopefully within the next couple of months, is to hire maybe like one or two more people just so that we can get things running as smoothly as possible. It's hard to pack orders all day, answer questions, check the email between three people. Customer service is just such my biggest thing. Being able to answer questions and just help people as much as we can. So it would be nice to have somebody that could basically take on a role like that.
I'm in your glaze group, but it's so funny. I see girls will post. I literally pressed purchase, and within 10 minutes I got a confirmation email that my solution was ready to be shipped. And I see it all the time and I'm just like, get it, girl. I mean, she's on it. She's there. You're, I mean, as I can imagine.
Told you I'm obsessive. If I see an order, if I'm like on my laptop working and I see like a little notification that there's an order, like I will get that thing ready. I will go out in the garage and I will pack it because I can't just let things just sit.
I am so excited for your business. I think our industry is so small and you watch people kind of come and go, like I said, and I've just watched your journey just kind of from afar, and I just very, very proud at what you accomplished so far. It takes a lot. I mean, there's things that I do in my business that couldn't compare to yours. And I just look at it and I'm just like, that's phenomenal. Like what you've been able to do. I know how much work has to go into that. And so not only work, but I think, like the support that you have, like the support, the family support that you have is
Yeah.
awesome. I think without that, a lot of people don't understand how much you need, like your
Mhm.
little community of people that are going to support you. I mean, if that doesn't speak volumes about your business, I don't know what does.
I don't know. I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you. I think you've done an amazing job. I love watching your stuff. I love watching girls compliment your business and compliment solution lines. And I just kind of sit back and I'm like, she's doing so great.
Thank you. That means so much to me. Yeah. I mean, it has been without a doubt the most challenging and like emotionally taxing thing that I've ever done, but also like the most fulfilling and like I could not imagine my life any different now. Like I love glaze so much. I feel like everything that I went through as a spray tan artist and like 10 years of just like being in the grind of spray tanning every day like led me to doing something that I actually really, really, really love. And I think that it's like the Sunless community that really keeps me like motivated every day. I just have met like the most amazing people. It's a great industry to be part of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. I think it definitely is. I think it's exciting to be a part of an industry that is still growing so quickly. Like, even, when I started a couple years ago or, 8 years ago, it did not feel as big as it does now. It was definitely a lot smaller. And it's exciting.
Mhm.
It's exciting to see women, take advantage of an opportunity in the beauty industry that doesn't require 2 years of beauty school and $30,000 of, put into a school, and to watch women be able to pick up a spray tan gun and change their financial futures is extremely something that's extremely passionate to my heart. And so to be able to
Yeah.
share that with other business owners, to like collaborate, just like, like with this, and,
Mhm.
helping each other and building each other, and watching that grow, I think is something that's so like, when would we have ever met each other otherwise?
Exactly. No, it really just is like such a special thing. And it's something that no one else on the outside ever thinks about. I remember like I got an inventory shipment the other day, and I don't know why this delivery driver never thought to ask this because he's bringing these huge boxes all the time. But he's like, "What's in here?" And I like told him, and he's like, "I've never even thought about that before." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." But for us, it's our whole world. So it's just so funny.
It's so funny because I don't know where we were the other day. I think we were at like a Toyota dealership, and somebody asked me, oh, so what do you do for a living? And I was like,
Yeah.
and I don't ever like come out and say spray tanning or anything. I just go, oh, I'm a business owner. I own my own business. And so then when they
Uh-huh.
ask, and you say, well, I own a spray tan, business and teeth
Uh-huh.
business, and I offer training, and they just like, that's a thing. Like,
Yeah. People just have no idea. They're like, oh, okay, really? It's like, yeah, but I don't know. It is definitely growing.
yeah,
It's definitely growing, and I'm just really excited for what it's going to become because I just think that we're still at such the beginning stages of what the sunless industry is going to be.
absolutely.
So it's just going to be crazy to watch it grow and to see what happens.
I love it. Well, Miss Audrey, I am so excited. Thank you so much. You're one of the first of the interviews that I want to do of like a series of just women in the spray tan industry that, I think are, and I don't want to say worthy, but I think need to have, to be able to have a conversation about their business, where it truly comes from. Because, like I said, there's some that come and go and you don't get a chance to even find out what their businesses are about. And so,
Yeah.
ones that I think that have truly been able to stick and stay with a business definitely deserve to be able to talk about their business, talk about their brand, be the representation of, something that's been so amazing. And I'm, like I said, very proud to watch where your business has grown to. Well, Miss Audrey, thank you so much. Now let me know, or let everybody know, where they should be following to know all the newest and greatest things about Glaze. Where do you want them to go? Where should they be following you?
So our Instagram is Glazed Sunless, That's the best place to find us. If you're on Facebook, we do have a Facebook group, Glazed Sunless Professionals. I'm a lot more active on Instagram. Our website is Get Glazed Sunless. Thank you so much. I'm actually really excited to watch the rest of your interviews. I'm like, I want to see who you're talking to. I want to hear what they have to say. I can't wait. And then I wanted to give whoever sees this a discount code. I'm going to say Gina 15 for 15% off.
Thank you so much for creating what you have created because I know it has influenced my business. I
Thank
know
you.
that it has made some of my girls feel absolutely phenomenal. And some girls who've come to me who said, I've never had a spray tan artist be able to find the right solution for me. And I throw some glaze on them and they're just like, yes, I will be here every 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.